Okra stew is a popular dish eaten across West Africa, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a vegan-friendly version that tastes just as incredible. If you want to learn how to make this, please keep watching. So we're going to show the ingredients first. Obviously, the star of the dish with this okra. I chopped it in my food processor, but you can do it by hand. Some spinach, eggplant, oyster mushrooms, because I like the texture of it, but you can use any mushrooms of choice. My blended aromatics, and the protein choice is going to be the Farm Boy beefless tenders, but you can use any plant-based protein of choice. Some chopped onions, vegetable broth, and the spices we'll be using to flavor the stew. So the first thing we're going to do is make the base stew, and I'm going to be sauteing my chopped onions in red palm oil with my mushrooms and basically just let it cook down till soft. Red palm oil, not required, but highly recommended. It gives it a really nice buttery flavor, and it is an oil that we use a lot in West African cooking. It gives a really nice authentic flavor too. While everything is getting soft, I'm going to be adding my fermented locust beans or dawa dawa. This is something that I highly suggest. Again, not 100% required, but it gives a really authentic and umami flavor that we really only use in West Africa, and it's very hard to replicate. After everything has cooked down, I'm going to be adding in my blended aromatics, which is tomatoes, onions, ginger, garlic, and Scotch bonnet pepper. So this is usually the base of a lot of Ghanaian stews and soups. So that's going to really give this stew nice flavor and bulk. I'm gonna let this cook down for about 15 minutes, and you wanna cook it thoroughly just so that everything has blended well together. So obviously I have to flavor this stew, so I grounded all of my whole spices in my spice blender, and I basically grounded everything up. It is going to feel like the stew is over seasoned. Obviously, I'm also going to slightly over salt it. This is really important because I'm not going to be adding any more salt. It really affects the texture of the okra, so you want to make sure that your stew is overly seasoned. While the stew is cooking, I'm going to be boiling my okra with my eggplant. You boil this separately just so to make sure that the okra cooks properly, and also that you can cook the eggplant. Some people will cook them together, but I always learn to separate them. That's how my mom taught me how to do it, so that's what I'm going to be doing. With the vegetable stock, I added my okra and eggplant. You can add baking soda if you want more draw to it, but I was completely fine with what I had. While the okra is boiling, you're just going to check on the stew, make sure that it's well seasoned, and just adjust for taste, and just let that simmer till it's nice and thick. After about 10 to 15 minutes, your okra should be done. You're just making sure that the eggplant is cooked through, and then that should be good enough. Just before I add the okra, I added my beefless tenders. Again, you can use any plant-based protein of choice. You can use tofu, or you can just use mushrooms. It's all up to you. So I'm just gonna mix everything just so that all of it is well combined. I saw that the sauce was a little too thick, so I even added a little bit of water just to thin it out a bit, but just also to make sure that it doesn't dry out too much or it's not too watery. So I'm just gonna let that cook for a little bit, about 5 minutes, just so that everything is at the right consistency. Then I'm going to be adding in my okra. You want to make sure that you do not over stir it. You just want to fold the stew and the okra together just so that everything melts well together. If you keep stirring and over stirring, it's going to affect the draw of the okra. And when I say draw, like the sliminess, I know slimy sounds weird, but trust me, it is the best way to describe this texture. If you go across West Africa, this type of texture is actually prevalent in a lot of the soups that we have. So we use jute mallow, we use obono, and all of them have draw to it. And the last thing was to add my spinach and just let that simmer for a few minutes. Now I'm going to be making my swallow, which is a fermented millet and corn swallow. I wanted a slightly healthier version of banku. If you want the recipe, please let me know in the description box below, and I'll be happy to share it. So after about 30 minutes in total, our okra stew is ready and ready to enjoy. I tried to make this look more aesthetically pleasing by molding my banku in some banana leaves, but it was just a hot mess and a fail. So please forgive me for the not so clean look of the banku, but trust me, it tasted absolutely delicious. This is a rather healthy meal. There's lots and lots of nutrients in here. It's rather light if you don't go overboard with the palm oil, and okra has a lot of good nutrients for it. This is a very typical West African dish, and it's something that really signifies West Africa. If you like what you're seeing, please make sure to subscribe to this channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!